All right, thank you. Okay, yes, so we've kicked off. So I will introduce our speaker for today. So today we have a wonderful lady who's going to be taking us through parenting in diaspora. This lady is a mom herself, and but that's just not the criteria for her doing it. But this is a lady that's really passionate about raising awesome kids, raising awesome people anywhere she is. You know, this is a lady that is part of the family life community. She has done a lot of work, especially with women, mothers in particular, and continuously still doing that work. We celebrate this lady. She's a lady that is very dear to my heart. She's one of those people that if you get to know her, she's got a lovely heart, always willing to help. She loves fun because so I'm just trying to, read a bit about what she's told me about herself. She loves fun. She's anything that is fun, she likes to be in there. She doesn't like to be too serious, but of course she has that serious side to her. She's a woman of many hearts, and I just want us to please join me. If you want to unmute your mic, unmute. If you're not able to and you just want to, celebrate this lady or clap or do anything, please do so. Just welcome her and please encourage this lady as she comes on so that we can, we can get the best out of her. Join me, guys, today for the very first time teaching on It Takes a Village. Boko Imwakwede. Who knew I was going to introduce myself? Tell me, who knew I was going to introduce myself? If you knew I was going to introduce myself, let me know. Oh my goodness, guys. Oh, it's but who else will celebrate me if I don't celebrate in fact, I didn't even read my profile. I should have read my profile. I would have introduced myself in a way, but I just thought let me be gentle, let me keep it back. Okay, let me share my screen and let's start. Ah, yes, you love it. Yes, I love it. I love myself because I need to love myself before I can love anyone else. I had to introduce myself. I didn't even do proper intro voice. Okay, I'll manage this one. Okay, now I'm the one teaching. Let me cut it straight. If you put anybody that drops for any reason, next time I'm not going to allow you. If you leave, Ah, you guys don't leave. I'm only joking. It's okay. I'm not threatening. I like I said, I like fun. Anything that is fun, that's where you'll find me. That's the way we roll. We roll. We roll. So relax, sit back. It's Friday evening. Oh, afternoon for some people, depending on what part of the world you are. So, Nome, for instance, I'm sure it's afternoon for you. But anyway, just relax. Let's have fun. Okay, so effective communication, parenting in diaspora is going to be like the series we're going to be taking, but the very first one that we're doing now is effective communication. I am trying to share my screen. When you see me doing that, I'm trying to share my screen. I will share it shortly. Okay, so share screen. Okay, admin, I'm not able to share my screen. Can you help me, please? So I won't talk without showing these people what I'm talking about. I've got some slides I'd like to walk through. So if you please help me. Um, okay, so please help me so I can share my screen. Let me try it now. Fantastic. I can now. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Okay, and let me know when you can see my screen. You can see my screen, thumbs up or whatever it is that you want to give me. If you can't see my screen, even if it's just a yes, let me know if you can see my screen. Onome, thank you. Fantastic. You're raising your hand, or are you confirming that you can see my screen? Raising of hand or confirming that you can see my screen? Okay, you can see my screen. Fantastic. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the love. Okay. Thank you. Let's get on. So, effective communication. That's what we're talking about. Now, I'm just going to dive right in. I have here that, let me just move this. I have here that, what's the objective of this evening session? And we try to keep our sessions to about 30 minutes, 45 minutes for the teaching. So by 8:15, 8:30, we're going to try and finish. So don't worry, we keep to time here. We are time conscious. With 45 minutes or 1 hour is what we spend. So definitely, communication is such a big thing and we can't cover it all. We'll try as much as possible to cover, but just in case I'm going to miss what I'm going to say later on, what I want to advise, or yes, advise everyone listening, is that if you've got challenges, with communicating with your children, you do know that you have this challenge. This teaching or lesson might not necessarily answer all your questions because each family is different. There's no one size fits all. We're going to cover a few things that are general. But if you genuinely know that you've got problems, please reach out to us. The email I would share at the end, you'll see it, is info@iampraisedforwhere.com. Just reach out and say, I need personal help. We've got a number of practitioners that we work with that will be able to help you through and hold you through this journey. They'll be able to, so if you're struggling with communication with your kids, with your spouse, or you know that things are just not going accordingly, anything that is family life, please reach out to us at info@iampraisedforwhere.com. Someone will respond to that email and be able to help you. So don't just, listen to this and think, oh, they just talked about, but communication is such a big thing. And honestly, this is just like, we've not even scratched the surface, but I'll go right into it. Objective that I want you to do is, I want you to be able to reappraise your communication style and check it if it's still fit for purpose. Fit for purpose in the sense that, there's this saying that goes that when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. So I've got a board behind me. Well, I don't know, because I'm blurred out. You might not be able to see. So let's just say my phone. You don't know what this phone is for. You can decide to step on it, you can decide to throw it in the water, you can decide to do anything. So you can do whatever it is that you like with it. So again, what is your own communication purpose? What is it that you want to achieve? You need to know that first before you say whether it's good or not. It's your communication style serving you. Your children, are they relating well with you? Do they feel that, okay, when you speak to them, they can hear you, they can respond, and they're doing what they, so those are the things the objective, what I want to be able to, what I want you to check as you're listening. I've got a saying here by Tony A. Gaxon. It says, communication to a relationship is like oxygen is to life. Without it, it dies. And that is just the basic truth. On my next slide, I have something I want you to think about as we're running through the session, we're running through this, meeting. Who is your child to you? It's a question that I can't answer for you. Not even a therapist or a coach or a family life practitioner or a specialist will be able to answer. Who is your child to you? What is your role as a parent? What does parenting mean to you? Those are questions you need to ask yourself deeply. Those are questions that you need to take time to meditate. These are not questions you rush. These are things that you want to take a deep breath to ask yourself. And only you can answer that question, not even your spouse. Yes, you might have a new nation, you might be raising it, but for you as an individual, what's your role? What does parenting mean to you? Again, what is your parenting why? Why are you a parent? Your parenting why is basically why. It's basically your vision. What exactly is it? Is it because, oh, when I got married, so that people would not talk, or so that, I can attain the status that I'm now a mother, or I just want to experience it, I want to know the feeling, or is it unplanned? It just happened, and then you just found yourself in parenthood. Is it like was it a requirement? It's your why that helps you to know the value to place on your child. Again, this goes back to the purpose of the thing. What is your why? Why are you a parent? Your why, is it positive? Is it futuristic, or is it something that you've already achieved? If it's something that you've already achieved, then there's no point. There's nothing for you to look forward to. But what exactly is your why? Your why, you need to answer it again yourself. When you understand your why, it helps you to make a commitment. It's like you're making a pledge to say that I am not going to compromise on this, you know, gift that I have as a child. I'm not going to compromise, you know, to the giver of the gift. You're not going to compromise to yourself. You're not going to compromise to the child. And you're not going to compromise to the world. I would explain who a child is, but these are just some of the things I want you to think about. Because we're talking about communication, I want to ask this question again. Where did you learn how to communicate? Who taught you how to communicate? Where? Was it from your parents? Did you pick it up from school, friends, or where? Who taught you how to communicate? Now, the question of who a child is, I asked you, what's your why earlier on? Again, while you're still thinking about that why, every child is a gift. And guess what? They were born blank, pure, in a clean, perfect state. They're like crystal water flowing from divine, flowing from God to bless humanity. Every child is a treasure, is a gift, is a solution sent from God as an answer to a cry. So when the world starts to say, oh, we need light, God says, where's this guy, Thomas Edison? Go forth. Go and give them light. They said they need light. And then the world is screaming, oh, we need Tesla, a car that, is electric with zero sound, zero emission, and all of that. Then the God says, send them, wait, what's this guy's name? How can this guy's name go off my head now? Guys, this is not funny. What's his name? The richest guy. Tesla. What's his name?
Elon
Uh,
Musk.
Elon
Elon
Musk.
Elon
Musk.
Musk. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Elon Musk. Send them Elon Musk. And then, but imagine, so the child you have in your hand as well is a gift, not just to you, not just to your family. You're not supposed to, look at that child and, you know, keep that child to yourself. It's a gift. Flowing water to humanity. There's something that God has put into that child that the child is here for. There's a purpose, there's a reason why God has sent that child. That child is an answer to a cry. So don't, bury that treasure. Remember the for those who are Christians, this saying about those who had the talents. One was given one, another two, another five. And what happened? The one with the one just went to bury the talent. That child in your hand is a solution. So when you start to think and see your children that way, I think it's going to help you with the way you communicate with them. I'll jump on because of our time. The next slide, I want us to look around. And again, I'm asking a lot of questions because until you ask questions and you think deep, you're probably not going to get the right solutions. You need to ask questions. You need to look around. A mind that's able to, a curious mind would get answers. A curious mind who is asking, why is this being done? So who doesn't just, want to pass through life and say, everything they say, I'm going to take it. No, ask questions. You need to be able to question everything. Look around you. And that's the approach I'm having this evening. What is parenting? You can make an attempt to answer this question in the what is parenting to you? What is it to you? Fine if you want to, but again, you might just want to answer it yourself. But you can make an attempt to any of this question. Who is your child to you? Are you raising an innovator? Are you raising a royalty? Are you raising an influencer? Who are you raising? Or are you raising? Remember, when you talk to that child, who you're raising should be at the back of your mind when you're talking to that child. Imagine, so in the last was it 2 weeks ago when the Queen was 70 years on the throne? We had series of events going on. Imagine you raising a what's the name of the little one now? I can't remember the last one. Okay, let's just say you're raising Queen Elizabeth when she was younger herself. How would you be talking to Queen when you already know that this one is going to be a queen and be on the throne for seven? How do you think you should be talking to her? How would you raise her? Would you just raise her to just, So those are questions you need to ask yourself. Now, another thing for thought is, can you remember the very first feeling when you held your child? For some, especially mothers, for first time moms, or even, second time, third time, fourth, fifth, whatever number of times you've gone for this journey, the feeling is always different. But can you remember what exactly the feeling was when you held your child? Well, for me, I had mixed feelings because I was not sure. I was like, I don't know what I was expecting about motherhood. I just thought, when you get there, it was going to be so magical. I don't know. So I had mixed feelings. I had, but the mixed feelings was also filled with awe. It was filled with, wow, really? This this human being came out of me. I was so much in awe of, the experience. I was so much in awe of the giver of this life. I was like, it started with this little thing growing inside of me, and then it became bigger. I couldn't put it all together. I was just trying to fathom how magnificent and all the things that happened. So it was, you know, fi- mixed with so many things. I was happy. A part of me was, not so happy because I was overwhelmed. It was just mixed. But the good thing is that I was grateful and so relieved. The joy that, wow, I'm going to nurture another. It was just mixed. I don't know what the feeling was for you, but go back to that time. Maybe it would help you. You didn't, give birth to that child and then you just like looking at, oh, you this child. No, you had a feeling. What was that feeling? If you go back and put yourself into that state, maybe it'll help you with communicating with your children. I've asked that question of your parenting why, so I'm not going to that. What's the topmost reason why parent-child relationship breaks down? Anyone wants to give a try? What do you think is the topmost reason? So, some statistics, let's look at it. According to Counseling Directory UK, which they did sometimes 2014, 2015, there's something we call the child line. This is like a helpline for kids that they can call when they're in trouble or when they need help, when they are being abused, or, it's just a rescue, like their own 911, or is it 999 that you guys have in the US? I don't know what you guys have, but yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's like their own emergency number. That's what this little child line is. And the result for the top 10 reasons why young people contact this child line. Anybody want to take a guess? I'll give you, let's try. Anybody? I'm trying to read some comment. Guess, just guess. What do you think the top reason why those children were calling? Someone saying network seems fine here. Anybody? Verbal abuse. Thank you, Bridge. Okay. Verbal abuse. Yeah. Anybody else giving it a shot? Anyone? I'm just trying to read comments. Emotional abuse. Yes, fantastic. Okay. Because of our time, I'll just go into it. So this is the start. This is the result. It says that topmost on the list of the concern that these young people had was family relationship, including conflict in the family. So you're right. You guys are right in terms of verbal abuse, emotional, whichever way you want to, lack of attention, whichever way, verbal, all the things that you're saying, you're right. So what they're saying is that conflict is the reason in the family. That's why many of them were calling. And where do you think conflict comes from? The major cause of conflict is simply poor communication. One of the main causes, actually, but it's basic. Yeah, and what's this communication? How information is passed and how is interpreted, how is received. That's it. That was the number one reason why they were calling. Conflict in the family. The family is supposed to be the safe haven where the children are supposed to feel like, a place that they can run to, they can be themselves, was the one making them call the child line. Okay, I'll go to my next slide. And I'm asking the question again. Questions. What is communication? Did a bit of digging and searching. So, the Latin word for it is communis or communicate. And what it means is that to make something common, or it's a word that you can link into community. When you make something common ground, like I'm speaking English, it's a common ground. If I was speaking another language, maybe Arabic, you might not understand, except you understand. So I'm not making it common. So communication means making something common and bringing people into a community, just like we're doing with It Takes a Village. We're saying we want to bring like-minded people. We want people who are visionary. We want people who are forerunners, who are pace setters, because we're going to be establishing things. Honestly, guys, you want to hang on to this It Takes a Village, because we're going beyond, oh, just a family. We're going to be doing investment. You know, people say, oh, Africans don't work together. We will show the other way. But that if those are part of your core values, you want to get people into this. People who complain that, oh, nobody helps me. You will get help, but you need to also help. In here, we don't joke about the standards, the values. There are some core values that you must show that you can that you have for you to be a part of our community. Now, ponder on this. Who taught you how to communicate? Where did you learn how to speak to your child as you do today? Be sincere. And this is not a case of, oh, I'm putting my hand up and saying as if I'm perfect. No, guys, I am work in progress. I'm improving. The who I was years ago before I started, family life and, working with praise and everything, I know is way different, and even the kids can testify. Most of my relationships can actually testify to it. So, who taught you? Me. Nobody taught me like that. I picked it from my environment. I picked it from my parents. I saw my parents, the way they talked, and I just picked it. And guess what? I was raised in a polygamous home, which the dynamics are slightly different. And it's not like nowadays that, with a lot of things that people are intentional, they're putting systems in place. There was nothing like that. My parents just, okay, let's just do this thing. So I picked it from them. If my dad shouts, I'll pick it, because whatever is communicated is what I know, and I'm not blaming anyone. They didn't know any better. They did it with the best. So from who taught them as well? They inherited it from someone. So they must have seen their parents, from the community, from the environment. That's the same way. But the question I want you to, look at and tell yourself, if I'm not taking anything from this class, is this question that says, is your communication, the current style of communication, is it effective? What result are you getting? And what is your child's feedback? Without sentiment, without anybody trying, if you call your child and say, please tell me how you feel that, get some feedback from them and let's see what they say. Let them score you on a scale of, whatever it is that you want to say, 0 to 10, or yeah. Let's see what your scores are looking like. If your scores are good, fantastic. But if they're not, then it's time for you to improve. Acknowledge it and let's get some improvements in. Okay, I've been talking for a bit. I want feedback from you guys. What has it been like for you so far? Okay, I'm waiting to read. Um, anyone? Okay. Okay. I hope you guys can hear me. No systems of the audio quality. I don't know if everyone can see. If you can hear me, let me know that you can still hear me, because I'm getting some kind of signal that quality. Okay. People are saying yes, please. Okay. Um. Okay. That's fine. No, I was just asking. I was just saying that, just give me some feedback. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Esther. I appreciate that. Okay. That's fine. Okay. So we've talked about what communication is. I've defined it. I've, asked you the question of who taught you. Where did you learn how to talk? Where did you learn how to listen? Are you sure you even listen? Or you're just always talking so that before the person finishes, you want to respond? Or are you struggling to communicate your points? You know, those are things that I've asked. Now, let me go to the next slide. And this slide is where we start to look at some of the elements of communication. So in this slide, what do you see? Okay, this is just the definition of communication, but in pictures. In here, you have the source. You have someone, okay, who's the source, who is going to be dishing it out. You have the channel through which it's being done, and the channel can be anything. There are different channels. And you have the receivers. And guess what? There's a second leg to it, which is called the feedback, which goes right back into it. That's what communication is. It's a picture that I've painted, and I want you to just, look at it and look at it. So communication is starting from the source, through a channel, it's a message, getting to the receivers, and guess what? There is what? Feedback. That's the whole meaning of communication. It's round the clock. Now, the next slide also helps to, look at the elements of communication like I described earlier. There's a sender. So, who is the sender? It's a person. In this case, you as the parent, you're the one who wants to send a message, and you want the other person to receive it and understand your message. The intent of the message is actually to get the next person, the receiver, to understand something. But guess what? Depending on how you send that message, the person that is receiving that message might not necessarily receive it properly or how you intended it based on their understanding of that message. And that's where you have miscommunication and all the problems that people talk about. So when you're sending a message, it's important that you understand that it's a two-way thing. You are sending something. I am saying something now. You're receiving it and you're processing it. You're doing something with it. You are translating into so many things, and you're putting it into thoughts and then making sense out of what you're saying. Okay. The other one, I talked about the receiver as well. Okay. Sorry, I just talked about the sender. Now, for the sender, usually from research or from there are a few types of sender that you can be, or when it comes to the sender. So the sender, well, I've picked two out of the various types. There's one that is an authoritarian person, where all they want to do is your views are not required, just do it. Authoritarian. And the second one, because we're talking about parenting, I've picked those two so we can relate with it, is the dialogue one, where feedback is required. When you allow others to give feedback, those people who are giving you feedback, they feel valued. They feel that, they've been listened to. They feel that you've completed that circle of communication. Every human being wants that sense of significance and belonging, whether it's a baby, whether it's an adult, a toddler, a teenager, a preschool child. Everyone wants that sense of significance and belonging. Test it in this class. If everybody comes into this class and we're saying things like, I'm just saying, oh, hello everyone, I'm just greeting generally, people would respond and be like, okay, hello Boku and all that. But if we specifically start to mention names, so I call the name of someone that I'm looking at, I say, Hua. You feel like, oh, that feels good. Or I say, oh, Folake. Significance, that sense of belonging. Oh, she's called me, she knows me. When you're in WhatsApp groups, most times you see people jump and passing messages, but the moment they mention a name or call their attention, that's the same thing. Whether you're a child, an adult, everybody wants, always remember that at the back of your mind. Again, I said there's a receiver who's going to process that information and use it. And then the third one is appropriateness of that message, the how, which is how you're sending that message. Remember when we looked at the other picture that was showing us the channel? Then there is the when and there's the why. There's a right time and the place to communicate. It's not everywhere that you say certain things. The appropriateness of where. Now relate it back to parenting. There's a right place and the right time. So imagine, for instance, your child has just gotten the school results and it's not looking so good. It is not when you have all your friends and family, everybody around. That's why I say, look at this one. You look at the result. And then, no, that's not the place to do that. That's not the time. That's not how you're going to do it. There's a lot of sensitivity around the fact that that child might be feeling, overwhelmed, emotional at that moment. So that's not the time for you to do it. You need to think about it. So, when you're communicating, especially with your children, always have that at the back of your mind. I am rounding up. And in rounding up, I want to touch on common mistakes that, we make when it comes to communicating with children. The first mistake I would like to address is called the static mindset in raising a child. This mindset is like, they tell us that, oh, life is a journey. It's not like, oh, this is the destination. You just keep going. It's like, it's not a sprint. It's like a marathon. You just keep going. It's not a sprint that you just and rush to the end. No. So a static mindset is the one that does as if, oh, I just want to get there. And all they do is focus on the outcome. I want my child to be the best in school, and they will do everything. All they're doing is seeing, a child flying, coming out in flying colors and all of that. They focus too much on the outcome. They see things in form of you either succeed or you fail. There are no in betweens. They only see black and white. They don't see gray and all the other colors and everything. And it shouldn't be. They believe that if you don't achieve the outcome, you have not succeeded. That means that, the person has failed. These people also, with this attitude, there's a possibility that you'll be doubting the ability and the potential of a child. Or you can even damage because all you're doing is success and failure, no in-betweens. Is a particular pattern of thinking that has a way of bringing about a negative filter where even the decisions that you're making will be based on this negative filter, because all you're doing is, okay, is either pass or fail. That I can't just allow, if you want to be in charge, in control. And it doesn't happen. You can't be in control. The only thing is yourself. Even for your own self, there are certain things you can't control. The things are outside of your environment. There are lots of things that you can't control. The weather, how the government is going to behave, there's so many things. So the same way, you can't be in control 100% of the time. It's not possible. So having a static mindset in, raising a child and in communicating with a child is so wrong. Rather, you want to have a positive mindset that focuses not just on the end result, but you focus on or the outcome of that, but you focus on every part of the journey. So I'll use simple example. Your child used to maybe do something. Okay, maybe your child is one of those children that once they come in from school, they drop everything everywhere. Their room is always untidy and everything. 50, the whole of the week. And then suddenly you realize that, okay, rather than 7 days in a week, this child now has just 4 days where their room is untidy. A positive mindset, a progress mindset will look at it and say, oh, we've improved, we're growing. That's one of the ways you must learn. And one of the things you must learn when you're thinking about how you communicate and how you deal with raising your children. Always think about the progress mindset. Don't be static, either yes or no. It doesn't always work like that. You have to look at improvement so that way you can measure it. If you just go from A to B, you can't really measure it because it's so big. But when you say, okay, 7 days a week is when your room is untidy, just rushing the child to say achieve it, even for us as adults, is difficult. But when you say, okay, the child has moved from 7 days to 4 days, then it moves gradually to 2 days, and then 1 day. And then it just becomes a habit. That is progress. And that's how we should look at or think about how we communicate or raise our children. The next mistake a lot of people make is attacking the person, not the issue. And I'm sure a lot of us are victims, even for me. Sometimes I have to cut myself that, no, what's the issue on ground? Your child is not that behavior. So a child told a lie. It doesn't give you the right to now say, that child is a liar. No. And guess what I tell myself with children? For me, it helps me. Is that, you see, these children you're seeing, they are whole human beings themselves. And I usually call my children, I tell them that I'm just your elder sister who has come ahead of you to pave the way, to show you the way. It's a privilege that I've gone ahead of you, and I'm going to be like a pace setter, a forerunner who's gone ahead of you. We're all from the same God, but I've just gone ahead of you. And I want to make sure that what I'm doing are examples that you can follow, good enough that you can follow. It would help you because you don't just see them as those little, who can just be. So it helps you to talk to them like adults. And again, like I said, your child is not a baby because the child, is either scared or something and they've just, covered it up, told a lie. If you're here and you've never told a lie, let me see your hand so that we can just exit, just tell them, allow this guy to exit this Zoom call. So we should empathize with those children. For us as adults, another question is, for those of us who are working from home or just working in general, how many of you have said, oh, to your employer, they've employed me for 40 hours a week, 7 days a week, and I stay there the 40 hours? No. For those of us working from home, there are many times you take coffee and tea breaks, and it's longer than usual. You just try to make sure that you get the job done, you get the work. Some people are out there quickly trying to get one thing or sort one thing or the other. Because of that, if your employer says to you, you have not spent 40 hours, because of that, you are a cheat, you are that, how would you feel? That's what many of us do to our children. You label them based on the behavior, and that's not who you're. That's the behavior. Your behavior and the child are different. So a child probably, has picked a disempowering behavior, maybe from the house. Maybe they've seen mommy or daddy just doing like, I didn't do it, but they know that in the media they are watching TV. Falsehood is everywhere. It's like a way of life. So they must have picked it from somewhere. They have friends in school. They have people that they relate with outside of your home. Let's even say, okay, for the benefit, we don't lie in our own house and all that. But they can pick it. But as a habit, as they have learnt it, they can unlearn it. But it's a process. Allow them. Don't label your child. You can't say because a child is struggling in school, that means that child is a failure. No. How many of us indeed did not struggle in school? Some of us struggled with maths, English, and so many other things. So let's give these children a chance. 2 more slides and I'm done. The next mistake, which is the third one, is negative commands. Why use negative commands? And what are negative commands? Negative commands are things like where you have the don't do this, don't do that. A negative command is very confusing. You know why? Because the brain has a way of doing that thing that you've mentioned. So let's do this exercise. For everyone here, I believe you won't be poor. Nobody here is going to be poor. This 2022, nobody. You're not going to be poor. Okay, as I've just said that, what's coming to your mind? Be sincere. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? So I'm trying to read the messages, but I'm just, I got a bit distracted. As I said, nobody's going to be poor. What is the picture that is coming to your mind? Guys, I'm waiting for responses. What picture is coming to your mind? What are you seeing? What's it doing for you? What can you see? The question I just had, oh no, not the question, the statement I just made, that nobody here is going to be poor. What's coming to your mind? I want responses. Money, okay, fantastic. Who else? What's coming to your mind? What, as I said, nobody's going to be poor. Is there a picture that has been painted in your mind? What picture is that? What can you see?
Sorry, I can't type because I'm driving. But when you said that, I just I I imagined what being poor is, and I just thought this is what I don't want to be, if it makes
Fantastic.
sense.
Thank you so much. Exactly. For me, the first time I did that exercise, all I could see was, one man in tattered clothes or those people sleeping by the streets. That's all I could see. But rather than you saying that, now I would say to you, we are wealth builders. We are the next big thing, the wealthiest people in this world. The top richest, 10 top richest people are coming from this group. 10 top richest 2022 people are going to be coming from this group. We are rich. We are wealthy. We are doing well. We are outstanding. We are taking territories. What's coming to your mind? As I'm saying that, what's that doing for you? What picture do you have? For me, because of time, that's different for me because all I can see now is I can see Dubai. I can just see me rolling with the kings of Dubai and all those people. I can see, what's that mighty building in Dubai? That's all I can see. I can see me going to go and spend £1,000 per night. That's all I can see. That's different from when you said you're not going to be poor. So use positive commands when you're talking to your children rather than negative ones. So don't keep saying things like, don't jump over there. Don't tell them what you want them to do. Please sit there. Don't. Because when you do don't, what they see is the negative. So use positive command. The last slide. So we can finish from here. And my very last point is on, and I like this point, common mistakes. The last one. So we talked about 4. The last one I'm addressing is communicating with negative emotions. The words you can see on the slides: anger, annoyance, outrage, tantrum, wrath, fury, rage, hatred, impatience, aggravation, irritation. Who would like to be spoken to with any of these words, or when someone is experiencing any of these emotions? And this is one of the biggest challenges we have as parents, where we just open and talk. We don't know when to say no. And guess what? When we do this, anything done out of your emotions, think about it, think deep, just try and do a recollection. If you do anything out of your emotions, you take any decision, whether when you are so happy, most times those decisions never last. You must make informed decision based on every information that you can take around you, and make sure your head is straight when you're making a decision. Think about it. Think about those who got married and they say, oh, love is blind. And they saw the guy, and the guy, they knew that this guy, but they were using their emotions to take that decision. We will change when we marry. What happens? You to think about all the decisions you've made in your own life even when we talk about positive emotions. So, for instance, let's say, oh, I've got the passion to do this. Passion doesn't get you anywhere. If you don't do the work and put what you need to do in place, you're getting nowhere. The same way, please, when you're angry, if you're going to count, if you're going to do breathing exercise where you just breathe in, breathe out, or run, or just say, do whatever it is that works for you. But please don't communicate with your kids with your negative emotions. Because when you do, you're transferring it. There's no way you say you're angry and you say, when I'm talking, I will not pass my anger. No, it doesn't work that way. You need to find time, you need to find a way to cool off and then communicate. Inhale through your mouth inhale slowly through your nostrils and exhale through your mouth if you have to. Do whatever it is that it is, but that's one exercise that really works. Take a deep breath in And slowly, you can do it like 3 times. By then, you would have been able to. And one more thing, when you, there are two ways that you can attend to something. Yeah, because I don't want to use that same. I don't want to use the word over and again. You can either respond or react. Respond is when you take time to allow that thing and make informed decision. Response is what you do when you just open your mouth without thinking. And response is the lowest form of reaction is the lowest form. And it's that form that is close to what you call an animalistic behavior. It is reserved for animals. They're the ones that they flight. If you see a dog, the dog doesn't have time to, it doesn't have brain to think. The dog will just bark. We're not animals. We need to process information. There are certain levels that we should go beyond. So if you don't take anything out of this class, one thing that would help you when you're angry or you experience any of your negative emotions, overwhelm, bitterness, frustration, anything, anger especially, just zip it. It will help you. It will help your child. Okay, I think that's it on this session. Yeah, I just had a diagram that says, my last quote, it says, on a final note, guys, your child is saying now to you, imagine that the one saying this to you. Tell me, guess what? I'm going to forget it. Teach me. It's okay, I'll remember. Involve me and I'll learn. The generation of children we're raising now, they're totally different. They believe in collaboration. They believe in working together. Whether you want to operate your old style or not, that's not what's applicable in their generation. Let's make our time to ensure that your home is a haven where your child can feel safe to make mistakes. Mark and underline that word. Make mistake, because we are all working for you. Are also making mistakes. Learn, grow, and truly become the best that they can be. Remember, that child is a gift, not just to you and your family, but to the world at large. On that note, I say thank you, and I think I'm bang on at the time. Thank you guys so much. I would stop sharing, and I want to wish you a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Me, I am just going to go and coil up with my children, my husband, and everybody just going to have some. You too, go have some fun. Relax. Today is Friday. Relax. Guys, relax. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you all. And we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. And you don't know who's going to be there, but thank you so much. Love you all. Thank you. Yes, we will share recording. If you're registered, we'll send out the recording. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you. Oh, someone's asking, how do we register? Okay. How do we register? Oh, okay. I'm going to send the link. Just bear with me while I get the link to register. I'll stop recording and then I'll send the link. Just hold on. I'll send the link. Well, officially, we're done.